What the fuck is grenade management? Grenade management in CS basically means how you manage your grenades. You guessed it. And basically that means you need to understand the use of the grenades, when you should use them, why you should save them, hold on to them as long as possible, when to use them, how to utilize them properly. We'll start with the grenade. Grenade, HE grenade, high explosive grenade, does a lot of burst damage, it just explodes and does a lot of damage. It's great to get clusters of damage. It's good to clear out positions if a person's been injured, if he's been legged by an op, or if he's been shot for, by a rifle 3 or 4 times, it will kill them. It's also great at stopping bomb site rushes if you use it at a choke point where a lot of enemies are coming through a small area and they're bottlenecked and you're just going to deal a lot of damage to various people. Grenades are good to be used to stop rushes by pre-nading an area together. Now, understanding what area you need to control is the big issue that a lot of players have. Grenading top mid and controlling top mid with a team in a crossfire is a very good tactic. If you're by yourself at middle, though, pre-nading or pre-mollying is not really effective because you're here by yourself and you're not utilizing the nades, you're not capitalizing off of it, it's not doing anything. You might do some damage, but you don't capitalize off it at all. Saving a grenade for when you know that the enemies are about to execute on you and they're throwing smokes at pit and everything like that, and you're in pit or you're in the A bomb site, is a very good way for you to grenade them where you know that they're clustered up, where you can deal a lot of damage. Using a grenade is also really good to get information by listening to the sound cues that it makes when it hits an enemy. If you don't know where the enemy is, you can use a grenade to find out information by throwing it at an enemy and listening to the effects that it makes. If you don't hear anything, the area might be clear and it might be worth to flash peek it or just peek it in general. If you do hear noise, then you can safely assume that the enemies are waiting to set up on you. The flashbang. A flashbang is a great way to blind your enemy. If you get a good flash off, it will last a very long time. If you get a shit one off, it's not going to last long at all, where they can basically be unaffected after 0.2 seconds. The flashbang is good to use on a flash push, as a pop flash, or to delay an execution. If you know that your enemies are at a certain location, such as middle, using a flash like this and sitting back here is not effective because you're wasting the flashbang. The enemy's blind, but you're not capitalizing off the fact that they're blind. They're going to be sitting there blind and you're not peeking them, so you've just wasted that flash. However, if you know that the enemy's pushing you and you need to fall back, using a flashbang is a great way to fall back without getting chased down. Flashbangs are really good as well to stop executions. If you know that the enemies are coming up, then what you can do is you can use a pop flash, which will go and bounce in front of their eyes so that you can peek them and kill them. The smoke grenade. Smoke grenades are very, very good at being multi-useful. It can be used to isolate the enemies by, you can throw the smoke at the bottom of Banana on Inferno, for example, and this can allow you to separate the terrorists by splitting them up into those inside Banana and those outside of Banana. That allows you to come and do pre-nades to clear out Banana and take control of an area. So smoke grenade in this instance is really good for map control. Smokes are also really good if your teammates are doing a Banana push and you need to control middle by throwing a smoke at the choke point and making sure that if the enemies decide to come up middle quickly, you have a very good position on middle, shooting them as they run through a smoke. After all, players are completely gray screened as they're coming through a smoke, and even at the edge of the smoke, you can see them if they're inside a smoke, but they cannot see out. They cannot see you. Smoke grenades are also very good and useful at stopping an 8 execution late round. So if you hold onto your smoke and you don't waste it early round, and there's a lot of time just gone off the board, when the enemy starts throwing their execute smokes, such as the pit and truck smokes, which are common smoke strats on Inferno, as soon as you see these smokes, instead of throwing the smoke early in the round, what you can do is you can save it and you can use it in a position such as this, or another choke point of this sort. Now, they have used their smokes, they've wasted 2 smokes and you used 1. and you completely block and just wreck their execution, because now they have to push through a smoke, again, where you have so many positions you can play, and you're guaranteed to get at least 2 kills on this execution. A smoke on apartments is also really good, where you can isolate one area or another. So you can either smoke halls and focus all your attention on porch and make a crossfire on porch, or you can smoke off porch and make all your attention on to the apartments area. Players coming out of the apartments have such a wide range of things that they have to clear that it makes it very difficult to execute out of apartments without your teammates coming up from porch first. Smoke grenades are a great way to bait out time and let your teammates rotate to you. So, if you're in the bomb site and you're the last remaining player here, but your teammates are still far away, you can use a smoke to make a kind of a shield that you can play around, and you can try to get gimmicky kills here and there and stay alive as long as possible and use it as a lifeline so that your teammates can rotate and the enemy still focus on killing you and can't plant the bomb because you're still alive and close to them and a threat, and it gives your teammates time to rotate from the other bomb site. This can be applied basically anywhere you play. You can use it at A or B, and it works just as effectively. So if the enemy's coming B and you're the last remaining player B, you can use a smoke here, for example, and play around it and get gimmicky kills in B, waiting for your teammates to rotate. The Molotov, or incendiary grenade, is a great way to deal a lot of damage over time. It will not do burst damage like the HE grenade, but it stays up in an area for 7 seconds. This means it's like a hybrid between a grenade and a smoke. The smoke lasts for a long time and it blocks your vision, and it's hard to push through because you're probably going to die if you push through it. And it's like a nade because it deals damage. So, using a Molotov at the start of the round here does not make sense, because this does not give you any control whatsoever. If you anticipate a rush that's coming, you can play in a position where you can listen for it, take a shot, and fall back. And using the Molotov at this position when the enemies are committing to you is a lot stronger than using it when the enemies aren't committed to you. Saving your grenades until the enemy commits is a lot stronger than using it early in the round to stop them and slow them down, unless you have a specific goal in mind. So if your team's goal is to control banana, then that makes it acceptable to use your Molotovs and grenades early in the round, because you're taking map control of this area, you're controlling it, and you have very advanced positioning, and it's going to slow down the opponents a lot. They're going to use their smokes, their flashes, and their grenades to take control of this area back from you. So this is a good way that you can use your smokes and flashes and nades and Molotovs early in the round. A bad example of using your Molotovs early in the round is Molotoving top mid, because you're not getting any map control, you're not capitalizing off of this Molotov. It's a waste, it's not doing anything. As soon as the enemies wait that out, which is 7 seconds, there's still over a minute, like maybe a minute 20 left on the clock, where they can do whatever they want. And guess what? If they execute on you, now you don't have a Molotov to stop them from the execute. Same thing if you pre-smoke mid. If you pre-smoke mid like this, and then they just wait it out, what's going to happen? Well, you don't have a smoke, so when they throw their execute smokes, you're fucked. Let's say they start smoking into library, into spawn arch, and they're going to wrap you, and this is obvious that they want to do a wrap strat. You know what would be perfect in this situation right now to break their strat? A smoke or a Molotov right here would absolutely wreck them, and you can play next to it, and you can get flashed through it, you can play in this area and get a gimmicky kill through the smoke. Basically, you've just ruined their execute with this one smoke. And better than this position, you can also smoke off this position, or you can throw the smoke and then you can also wait for the smoke to clear, and when it clears you can throw a Molotov here. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do to stop their attacks. Knowing when to use your smokes takes a lot of experience, but what you want to do is make sure that you're managing your grenades properly, so that whenever the enemy executes their strat and commits to the bomb site, you still have utility to work with. You don't want to blow all your utility 5 seconds into the round just because you have it. It's a waste. You're doing nothing with it. And guess what? If they don't even come to you, they don't pressure you at all, they don't come to your bomb site, you're rebuying that every round. An incendiary grenade is $600. Each flashbang is $200 each. A smoke is $300. That right there is $1,300 right there that you have to rebuy every round. that you just start blowing it. So instead, if you know that your opponent's going really slowly and taking methodical control of everything, you can hold on to your Molotov and everything and probably get away with just using just a flash probably up until the minute mark, and then saving your Molotov and smoke until there's 30 seconds left in the round. If there's 30 seconds left in the round and you still have a smoke grenade, and then you start seeing smokes being thrown somewhere and you use your smoke, by the time that smoke clears, there's 10 seconds left in the round, and so it forces them to either push through the smoke, and they're very like stressed for time and they're pressured and they have to clear everything quickly, and they'll probably overlook some things, or they wait the smoke out, they have 10 seconds left to kill you and get the bomb plant. It's very difficult to execute with 30 seconds left and your opponents still have smoke grenades. So you want to save your smoke grenades as long as possible as a counter-terrorist. That's talking about counter-terrorists though. I haven't talked about terrorists. Terrorists still don't want to blow everything they have 5 seconds into the round. It's a waste. They want to use specific grenades and utility at specific times at specific areas on the map. Using a flashbang to take an opera off this angle so that you can get to logs is acceptable. You've used only one flash and you've got yourself into a decent position here. Using a Molotov or nade at the car or the sandbag is very good to stop the counter-terrorists from taking control of an area. So you maintain the control of an area just with one utility. That's really good. You maintain all of your smoke grenades so that you can smoke off the choke points and isolate your enemies late into the round. Flashbangs are really good to be used and kept so that you can sell fakes and so that you can execute strats. Without having a lot of utility, you're gonna have to go for aim duels. And you can't go for an aim duel if you're constantly smoked out and flashed out and just... If you're coming into here and you're taking an aim duel, look at all the angles that you have to clear. There's tri-box that you can peek on either side of tri-box, on top of oranges, next to oranges, behind the fountain, in emo, behind that pillar, spools, spawn behind the truck in the corner, pop flashing through. There's so many things that you have to clear if you're going for a straight aim duel that you need to isolate certain areas, such as smoking off spawn. Now you can turn your back to spawn and clear the bomb site and not worry about all the shit behind you. You smoke off spools, now you just worry about anybody who's trapped in the bomb site and they're probably isolated from the rest of their team. You can now push in, get the trade kill, and win off that. If you don't have those smokes, it makes it very difficult to actually entry into the bomb site. So knowing when to use the smokes and how to utilize them is very important. To continue on with that, you can use your grenades as a terrorist to bait out a response from the CTs. For example, if the counter-terrorists at B haven't used their smokes and you need to pressure them, and your pressure by just peeking them and everything isn't working, throw a smoke at CT spawn and throw flashes over as if you're doing an execute and you're going to run in with it, and that's going to bait out a response from the counter-terrorists to use their smoke. That's called baiting a smoke grenade out. Or baiting nades. That's called baiting nades. So if I'm throwing a smoke here and then flashing over, it's going to bait the CT's nades. Now if the CTs have depleted all their smoke grenades at B, the next time we come and my teammates come to me, they can do another smoke on spawn and smoke spools, and the counter-terrorists cannot throw a smoke in our choke point and wreck our execution. Same thing can be applied over at middle. You take middle control, use as little grenades as possible to take middle control, and then you pressure the enemy to make them want to use their smoke grenades and use their Molotovs. They're not going to straight peek you in a 1 versus 1 engagement because that's good for you if you're a terrorist. So they're going to have to use their utility to slow you down and push you back. When you pressure them to use their smoke grenades and everything, it's going to mean that when you do your execute later in the round, they're not going to have Molotovs and smoke grenades to stop your execution. So baiting out nades is very important as a terrorist, and managing them and reserving them is very good as a counter-terrorist. Know how to use your fucking grenades, know what they're good for, capitalize them off of them if you're going to use them early in the round, capitalize them off of them if you're going to use them late in the round, and don't fucking waste them. Every sperm is sacred. I'm out.